There's a lot of snow out there today to shovel. Um, and it's going to be chilly today, a little bit colder than normal, but it should be clear. So, uh, chilly, make sure you have on your extra socks and if you're got to be outside and keep dry because once you get wet, man, it's going to be chilly. It's going to be cold. So, we're going to study in Malachi, and we're in Malachi chapter 2, and we're going to pick up in verse 10. Malachi chapter 2 and verse 10. And this is our study leading into the Advent season. And we're studying this because we're looking at the things of the time when the Lord went quiet um, right before. Remember, this is the last thing he said he came, before he came in the flesh and dwelt among us. And so this is an important text, especially when you um, parallel it with how we're living now and what it says the end times will be like, because it's very similar. The things that are happening in the culture during the time of Malachi, um, in the culture in the church, um, right, with the priesthood, and how the chosen people, the people of the promise, are acting as if we're people of the world. Okay, and so Malachi chapter 2 and verse 10. Have we not all one Father? Now recall chapter 1 verse 6. A son honors his father, and a servant his master. Then if then I am the if then I am a father, where is my honor? Okay. If then I am father, where is my honor? Okay. So coming back over here to chapter 2, have we not all one father? We do all have one father. Okay. So if we are all the people of the promise, why are we not honoring our father? Okay. And then he says, has not God created us? Yes, he has. Okay, so why don't we fear him? He says, why then are we faithless to one another? Why then are we faithless to one another? The King James reads, deal treacherously. Why then do we deal treacherously to one another? Now, that this term, faithless or deal treacherous, it comes up uh, one, two, four times. Four times we see it in verses 10 through 16. So 6 verses, it comes up 4 times. Why then do we deal treacherously to one another? Now, what's interesting? Um, we deal treacherously, and God knew we would. Okay, God knew we would, and yet He still chose us. He still made us people of the promise. He still um, made a covenant with us, right? We are still His bride, and yet He knew we would deal treacherously. He knew we would be faithless, and yet He still took us, and He still made us, um, and got in bed with us. He still married us and made us His bride. Yeah, He did. Isaiah 48:8. Um, it says, yea, thou heardest not, yea, thou knewest not, yea, from that time thine ear was not opened. For I knew, remember, since beforehand, for I knew thou, you, me, wouldst deal very treacherously and wast called a transgressor from the womb. From before we were born, he knew we were transgressors. From before we were born, he knew we would deal treacherously. From before we were born, he knew we wouldn't hear what he had to say. Yet, he still chose us. Yet, he still elected us to be the children of the promise, children of the light, called out of the darkness, called out of disobedience, being a child of disobedience. And yet he knew we would be that. He still married us. He still made a covenant with us. He still deals faithfully with us. Yet, why then are we faithless one to another, profaning the covenant of our fathers? See, we're faithless to our spouses, right? We're faithless to our spouses. You know, the first covenant was all the way back in Genesis. Yeah, he Adam was to be married to his wife and to lead her, and she was to be submissive to him, and they were to become one flesh and separate from their mother and father. Yeah, the original covenant. The original covenant. So it's the same covenant, and yet we're faithless one to another, profaning the covenant of our fathers. He says, verse 11, Judah has been faithless. Judah has dealt treacherously. Hello, Vanessa. Hello. Um, Judah has dealt treacherously. God's chosen people of the promised land has dealt treacherously, has been faithless. And look what we do in that faithlessness to the covenant of our fathers. Okay? Uh, an abomination has been committed. In that faithlessness, we commit abomination. Abomination is something disgusting to God. Okay? When it says it is an abomination, it means it's disgusting to him. It is evil in his eyes. It is grotesque. It is gross. Okay? It is gross. An abomination, this covenant, this faithless dealing or treacherous dealing to the covenant of marriage, okay, is an abomination. It is disgusting. It has been committed in Israel, okay, in the promised people, and in Jerusalem, in the promised land. This abomination, we bring it into the promised land, into the sanctuary, into the city of peace, which is supposed to be us, church, and we bring it into our the chosen people, into the people of the promise. So when we deal treacherously, hola, when we deal treacherously or faithlessly to one another, we bring this abomination, this disgusting, grotesque, gross thing into the place of peace, into a city of peace, into the promised people. Then he says, for Judah has profaned the sanctuary of the Lord. Profane, to defile or pollute, to make common. Right? We make common the sanctuary of the Lord, the place where the Lord shows up, the place where the Lord and his glory is stationed. Right? I like that word. I like how I just put that stationed. Right? He's stationed there. It's the sanctuary. It doesn't mean that's where he's confined to. It just means where he's stationed. And you know, he's shown, and he's uh, out on patrol or out in the ranks when we testify, when we minister, when we serve, right? When we love our wives and we honor our covenant, right? That's when he is shown, or the camp grows, right? That the where he's stationed, it grows. So for Judah has profaned the sanctuary of the Lord, which he loves. He loves where he's housed. He loves where he's stationed. Okay, and has married the daughter of a foreign god. Now, for the chosen people, the people of the promise, Judah, right? When we deal treacherously, act faithlessly to our covenant, And it's the covenant that from the very beginning, the same covenant of our fathers, and we deal treacherously with it, we act faithless to it. It is disgusting in his eyes, it's an abomination, but it defiles or makes common, or it wounds or prostitutes, another word for it, prostitutes the sanctuary of the Lord, where he is housed, where he is stationed. Know ye not ye are the temple, church? Know ye not ye are the temple? And in doing that, when we do that, it says, and has married the daughter of a foreign god. We give up our God to take on a foreign God, a strange God, a worldly God. Yeah, a worldly God. And so if we look at, let's cross reference Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 27. Jeremiah chapter 2, verse 27. Fingers are dry this morning. Jeremiah 2 and 27 reads, saying to a stock, thou art my father, and to a stone, thou hast brought me forth. Right? These idols of creation, right? Something that we've made. We make a stone picture or a stone um, uh, uh, carving, right? And we honor that. That has brought me forth. Sorry, that's yeah. Um, Thou hast brought me forth, for they have turned their back unto me. We turn our back to God, and not their face, but in the time of their trouble, will say, arise and save us. We turn our back to God to face these things that are carved, these carved images, and we'd say to them, save us, when they don't have the power to save. No. But where are thy gods that thou hast made? Where are they gods? Where are they? Do they show up? No, no, they don't. Only one God shows up when we call upon his name, and that is anybody who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. Now, let's look at Judges. Judges chapter 3. Judges chapter 3, picking up in verse 5, and we'll end here. And the children of Israel, the children of the promise, dwelt among the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites. See, we are the children of the promise, and these ites are all around us. These ites are all around us. These Canaanites, these Jebusites, these Hittites, the Amalekites, they're all around us, y'all. And they all have their own set of traditions, set of gods, set of worldly um, desires, right? Worldly desires. And Leviticus tells us don't do any of those. What they do, they did it with animals. They saw the nakedness of their mothers, their fathers. They sacrificed their children. They burnt their children, right? They did all these things, and God warned us not to take part in that. Yet we still do. We still marry ourselves to these foreign gods, or to the daughter of a foreign god. We just give ourselves away. Okay, then he says in verse 6, and they took their daughters to be their wives and gave their daughters to their sons and served their gods, right? And served their gods. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Lord and forgot that the Lord their God, forgot their Lord their God, and served Baalim and the groves. And served Baalim and the groves. Are we to be pagans? Do we serve the groves? Do we serve the daughters of the foreign gods, right? Or do we serve the God Almighty? Who do we serve, right? And then he says, therefore the anger of the Lord was hot against Israel, the children of the promise, and he sold them into the hand of Shushan-Rishathaim, king of Mesopotamia, and the children of Israel served Treacherouly theme, 8 years. See, when we deal treacherously or act faithless to our covenant, right? We give ourselves away to slavery. Boom. We pollute the sanctuary. We pollute the resting place of God's glory. And it is gross in his eyes. And we do that mostly. Why? And not mostly, but because we get in bed with the daughter of the foreign gods. We get in bed with the daughters of the foreign gods. We turn our back to God, our God, the real God, the only God, and we face these stone carvings and we call on them when we should be calling on the Lord for our salvation. All right, you guys. I know this was a stiff one today. Grace and peace. Have a wonderful day. Stay warm. Stay safe. And remember, call upon the name of the Lord. Call upon the name of the Lord. Do not turn from the Lord to call on an idol. It's not good. It profanes the sanctuary. It's an abomination. It's gross in his eyes. Grace and peace.